Today I'm going to be showing you how you can increase your damage on your weapons here in Once Human and maximize the damage potential for whichever stage of the game you are at. If you find this video useful and informative, please do drop me a like and a subscribe down below, as both of those things massively help out me and my channel. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first and most important part about weapon damage is going to actually be when you are crafting the weapons. Now, it might be that you're on the intermediate table like myself here, you might be still on the beginner's table, whichever stage that is. You will basically have the first two tiers unlocked at the first table and the second two tiers unlocked at the second table. And then obviously to craft the tier 5, which is going to be the most damage, is going to require the advanced gear workbench. Now, what you'll see is this is not currently unlocked. It says it unlocks when the current season reaches Tame of the Staroid. So this is on the Memetics tree. You actually can't get to tier 5 as it were, or tier 5 crafting right now. If you want to check how far off each of these are, if you're not watching this in the first season of Once Human, or you want to check your own season scenarios, what you do is go into the menu screen, so the escape on PC, and click on your scenario in the top here. You can see that this is Manibus Novice PvE scenario, and it currently says the stage you're on is of Mist and Mirage. So obviously you can click into there and you can see that Tame of the Staroid is the second one, which will be in 2 days and 10 hours, which is when this first section ends. So they're roughly about a week each. So obviously then we can go up to that next crafting level. So bear in mind, once we do unlock that, if you are watching this at the time of upload or shortly afterwards, then you'll be able to unlock that tier 5 of crafting, and that's going to be your most damage. Or if you're watching this at any point in the future, you may already have tier 5 unlocked, but you can check your season info there. So of course, crafting the weapon is going to be the first part, and obviously depending on the tier that you craft, that is going to increase the damage. If we see here the Cam BP, which is pretty regular, most people will have this once you've started the game, you can see as you go up the tiers, the base damage will increase. Now, also to this, you have different versions. So you can see here, if we go to the green one, we've got just this. But if we go over to the blue version of this, it gives us a 30% chance to trigger shrapnel when hit. Shrapnel means that we deal damage to extra parts of the enemy. And also shrapnel damage plus 60%. Now, obviously, if we go on to a different weapon, this one here is going to be the SOCR. This one is going to be starting at 41 damage at tier 1, so this is the more damage than both of these ones, and it's also going to have different effects because obviously it's purple rarity. So what you can see here is it's a 35% chance to trigger power surge when hitting an enemy. This one deals instant shock damage and increases power surge damage. Crit hits increase the chance of triggering power surge by plus 30% based on the weapon's trigger chance for 3 seconds, and plus 30% of triggering power surge based on the weapon's trigger chance. So basically, overall, this is going to be a very good weapon. You're going to be dealing the base damage plus some elemental damage there from the electricity perk. So this is really, really cool. Now, obviously, again, as you go up the tiers with this, as with any weapon, you're going to be able to increase the damage. So that's going to be your first and most obvious and easy way to increase your damage. Now, the next thing you'll notice here is then the fact that I have got quite a bit of a good gear score, if you will, with this number in the top left. This is nearly at 700, and the reason for that is going to be mods. So when you've got something equipped like you can see here, simply go over it, and on PC, the keybind for modify is right click, but it will tell you in the bottom right of your interface there. You can go onto that, go into the modding section, and that will open up this tab here. Now, if you haven't got anything equipped in this slot, it will just be an empty box. If you have got stuff equipped, you'll see, like I have here, the thing that you've got in. You can click on this at any point to swap it out or change what you might want to have. So you can see currently I have equipped a blue crit damage boost talent. This one gives us a plus 9% crit rate, as well as element damage plus 4.8% and damage against great ones plus 1.2%. So this is actually pretty good and quite powerful. That also affects the overall output of the weapon. You'll see that my damage here is 119. And if we go back to the regular craft at tier 3, which is the tier that I've crafted this at, this is at 100. So that has been increased. Now, quickly just touching back onto the mods. You can actually get mods for your weapon, but you can also get mods for your armor. And this is really important because, again, you can see here, this one is melee damage plus 12%, and then an additional 1.6, and also a status damage. You've got ones like this one here, which is weapon damage plus 9%. You've got ones that affect your HP. But as you can see, crit damage, again, a lot of these do directly affect the damage you are going to be doing and outputting. So make sure you've got something equipped in every single slot. If you look on your gear, this little diamond that you can see just above the lines, which is the attachment lines for all of this gear, or just in the bottom left of each of these pictures. If you don't have a mod equipped, you'll see I've just unequipped the mod here on this axe. You can see that it's this grayed out or empty black diamond. So you want to make sure you go into there, go into modify and equip whichever one that you actually want to have. Once it's equipped, it'll have that E in the top, and when you go back, you will actually be able to see you've got it equipped there. It will increase the rating and it will increase your damage output depending on what you put in. So make sure you pay close attention to that. It is going to be super important. Now, the other thing that you want to look at here in this screen is, of course, the accessories tab. Now, you can see what you've put on. So for right now, I have the large suppressor equipped. Now, if I unequip this quickly just to show you, it actually says that it decreases the stability by a pretty significant amount, but does increase the range, but again by a pretty significant amount. Plus, it sounds pretty cool in my opinion to be rocking a suppressor quite early on in the game. I've then got this optic on. I'll be honest, it's not the best optic I've ever seen, but it is something that's fairly decent. And again, if we unequip this, it further reduces the stability, but does give us that 3x zoom, so greatly improves that range as well. Haven't got a tactical on here right now, but again, you can find these around. If you hover over whichever one you want, it will say how to get it. So this is the Broken Delta Northwind Riddle spot. This one's from Redeeming the Shapeshifter shop, and so on and so forth. You can work out how to get each of these ones that you might want. Then you can see I've got the amended magazine here, which gives us a reload speed of +6 and accuracy of +9. And then, of course, your ammo down the bottom. Again, you can check what this will be. So if I upgrade to steel, you'll see that I will get a increase for both damage and PSI intensity of +1% compared to the copper AP. Then when I go up to the steel AP, that's going to be all the way up to 8. So you can see how this scales with the damage as well. With the ammo I've got, it's 119, 114 with the copper bullets, and then with the steel 120, 123, and so on and so forth. So the ammunition is going to directly affect the damage of the weapon, whereas the rest of these accessories are going to affect the capabilities of the weapon, and in turn, I guess, the damage output, depending on how well you can handle the weapon you are using. The cosmetics tab literally doesn't do anything. You can equip a charm to it and you can equip some skins or stickers or whatever else, but it doesn't affect the damage or anything like that at all. So you're going to craft the weapon at the highest tier you have available to you and apply the highest level mods you can, then putting in the highest level ammo you currently can craft is all going to increase your damage output. Now, another thing that can affect the damage that you are doing in the game is going to be your cradle here. Now, this is going to be super important because these do change when you've got different things. So you can see here at the season start you get these 4 perks, then at level 10 these 4, level 20 these 4, and when I get to level 30 and 40 and so on, you will see that these perks will unlock. As you complete different challenges in and around the map, you will be able to unlock additional slots. So currently I have 2 perks available for me. I'm currently rocking the melee amplifier, and as you'll see, this one gives me a damage of +20% when holding melee weapons, and also recover 20% of the expended stamina upon defeating a target with a melee weapon, and this can trigger once every 3 seconds. So again, it depending on your playstyle, depending on what you're using, I use quite a bit of melee, so this is really good for me, but you can get like the long range enhancement, you can get the automatic weapon enhancement, the handgun enhancement, so on and so forth, so do come back and mix and match these. As well as this, I've got the Flame Resonance perk on, and this one is after hitting a weak spot. Status damage plus 25% for 3 seconds. This actually pairs really nicely with the electricity effect that my current weapon, the assault rifle that I'm using, actually has. So this is pretty cool, but there is also a lot of other stuff, like weapon damage plus 25% for 4 seconds after switching weapons or reloading. Then there's also another one here, which is damage from humans minus 20%, effect halved after defeating another human player. So if you are on PvP, that's probably going to be something worth looking at. So again, this is going to affect your damage and your survivability in some cases, depending on what you pick. But you can certainly increase your damage output, like literally giving you plus 20% damage here in the Cradle Perks as well. Now, the final way that you can actually increase your weapon damage specifically is by going over to your gear workbench, whether you are on the first one or the intermediate one like I am here. And on PC, the keybind for this is J, but you'll see the pop-up and it is Calibrate. This is going to be really important because what you can do is go onto these weapons and actually straight up increase the damage at the cost of materials. Now, as you can see on these higher level weapons, you're going to be able to do this more times. Now, one thing that Calibration does as well, depending on the level threshold, is actually give you access to additional perks. You can see here that the +4 means that when we get to level 4, we will get +12 accuracy and +6 stability. When we get to +7, you will get crit damage of +10. And then if we were able to get to +10, which we're not on this weapon, I think you will need the gold variants in order to do that, but we would get elemental damage +6%. So on top of the already good damage increase you get, this is going to give you crit damage increase, better accuracy and stability, meaning you can probably output more DPS by hitting more shots. It's all going to be really good stuff, so make sure that you're staying on top of the calibration. It's going to be a really, really important thing. Additionally, with this, you can replace the calibration attributes if you have got a blueprint for some. These are obtained by dismantling dropped weapons. Dropped weapons can be acquired from weapon crates or dungeons. If you dismantle them, you can get the blueprints to change what these calibration attributes are and basically customize your weapon even further. So definitely make sure you're calibrating it. As you can see, it will give you a direct damage increase, so this is going to be super important. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully that has helped you to understand how you can increase your damage output here in Once Human and make the most of your weapons whatever stage of the game you are at. If you have found it helpful and useful, please do drop me a like and a subscribe down below. If you've got any additional comments on how people can increase their damage, feel free to drop them in the comments down below as well. And other than that, I will catch you again very shortly on a brand new upload. Thanks for watching, take care, and peace.